On December 5, 1945, 5 U.S. Navy bombers, a whole squadron, vanished into thin air. 14 experienced airmen simply disappeared over the Atlantic Ocean, leaving behind no wreckage, no bodies, and no explanation. The last transmission from the squadron leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, still haunts researchers today. We don't know where we are. Everything looks strange, even the ocean. Welcome to the Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle. It's a 500,000 square mile stretch of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and San Juan. This is the place that has supposedly swallowed more than 75 aircraft, 50 ships, and hundreds of lives over the past century. But despite the fearsome reputation built by decades of sensational stories, the truth is surprising. Data from Lloyd's List, the world's oldest maritime authority, shows that only a tiny fraction of vessels passing through here, just 0.02%, experience any trouble. That's 90 times lower than the global average. The U.S. Coast Guard is unambiguous. They do not recognize this area as a specific hazard to ships or planes. So, why does the myth persist? The Bermuda Triangle is a real place, but its fame as a supernatural zone is pure fiction. The real mystery isn't time portals or aliens. It is understanding why the combination of unique natural phenomena along this heavily trafficked route created the perfect conditions for disasters that, at the time, were impossible to explain. The legend wasn't born overnight. It was built upon a series of incidents that, in isolation, seemed to defy all logic. And it all started way back in 1492. Christopher Columbus, on his famous voyage, recorded in his logbook that his compass needle went wild, spinning erratically at the same time. He saw a mysterious great flame of fire fall from the sky into the sea. His crew was terrified. What he actually witnessed was a genuine, though rare, geophysical phenomenon. The triangle sits on one of only 2 places on Earth where geographic north and magnetic north align perfectly. This is called an agonic line, and it can confuse traditional compasses. But it's just physics. Still, Columbus's account fueled superstition for centuries. Fast forward to 1918, the colossal Navy cargo ship, the USS Cyclops, over 542 feet long, was carrying 10,000 tons of heavy manganese, one day, the ship vanished with all 309 people on board. There was no distress signal, no wreckage, nothing. It remains the largest loss of life in U.S. naval history, not involving combat. How can a ship that size simply cease to exist in calm waters? The complete absence of evidence transformed this disaster into a myth. If the Cyclops gave the triangle its first taste of fame, the next incident would cement it in our culture forever. On that fateful afternoon of December 5, 1945, Flight 19, those 5 Avenger bombers, took off from Florida. These were experienced aviators, flying over familiar waters on a routine training mission. But at approximately 3:45 p.m., the leader, Lieutenant Taylor, sent the first panicked communication. All 5 pilots were seeing their compasses spinning uncontrollably. The entire squadron was completely disoriented. Taylor's final chilling transmission was, "We don't know where we are. Everything looks strange, even the ocean." The 14 men eventually ran out of fuel and crashed into the sea. To make this already horrific tragedy even worse, the rescue plane sent to find them, a PBM Mariner seaplane with 13 crew members, also vanished. Witnesses on the ground reported seeing a massive explosion in the sky. In a single day, 27 lives and 6 aircraft disappeared, reinforcing the idea that some supernatural force was at work in the triangle. Theories of aliens and underwater portals are entertaining, but science points to a powerful combination of 3 natural factors. These are interconnected, terrifying, and can explain nearly all of the historical incidents. First, let's talk about geomagnetic anomalies. As Christopher Columbus noted, the triangle is a place of magnetic weirdness. These local magnetic anomalies, caused by minerals on the seabed, can cause compass deviations of up to 20 degrees. Back in the era of Flight 19, without GPS, this sudden instrument failure, especially during fog or darkness, was a death sentence. It was the perfect recipe for getting completely lost at sea. Second, and this is perhaps the most terrifying factor, is submarine methane hydrate eruptions. The ocean floor in this region contains immense reserves of frozen methane, often called fire ice. Geological instabilities, like a small undersea landslide, can cause this frozen gas to thaw and erupt explosively. The methane bubbles up to the surface, saturating the water and drastically reducing its density. A ship sailing over one of these massive gas bubbles would instantly lose all buoyancy and sink in under 30 seconds, with no time to even send a distress call. Simulations by scientist Dr. Joseph Monaghan showed a ship would sink so fast, the radio operator wouldn't even make it to their station. This perfectly explains what likely happened to the USS Cyclops. No wreckage is found because the violent gas eruption would break the ship apart and pull everything down to the ocean floor. Third, the Bermuda Triangle is a realm of extreme weather. It's located right in Hurricane Alley, but the biggest danger often comes from something else: rogue waves. The powerful Gulf Stream current, a river of warm water in the ocean, can collide with opposing storm fronts. This collision generates monstrous waves that can exceed 100 feet in height. For decades, sailors were ridiculed for reporting these walls of water, but modern satellite data confirms these waves are real and surprisingly common in this area. For an older ship, a single rogue wave could break it in half, and for aircraft, the storms here produce violent microbursts and wind shear, creating sudden fatal drops in altitude that can slam a plane into the ocean without warning. This is a very plausible explanation for what happened to Flight 19. So, if science has the answers, why does the legend survive? The answer lies in human psychology. In 1974, a book by Charles Berlitz titled The Bermuda Triangle became a global bestseller, selling over 20 million copies. Berlitz used a simple but effective technique. He took these isolated, tragic incidents, but he omitted crucial facts. He didn't mention the severe storms that were reported on the days many ships vanished, or the known mechanical failures of certain aircraft. He then wove a narrative that filled that mystery gap with exciting ideas about aliens and time portals. The human brain loves a good story, and we often prefer dramatic, complete narratives over dry statistics and complex scientific explanations. This is a cognitive bias called confirmation bias. We remember the planes that vanished because they proved the triangle's mystery, but we ignore the millions of ships and flights that pass through safely every year. A plane crash is seen as evidence, while a safe flight is just a flight. The myth is simply too good for the truth to spoil. Today, we can confidently say the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle is solved. Modern technology has almost completely eradicated the historical dangers. GPS has made compass failures irrelevant. Doppler weather radar and satellites can predict rogue waves and violent storms hours in advance. And every ship and plane is equipped with an EPIRB on emergency position, indicating radio beacon. This device ensures that even in a rapid sinking event, like from a methane gas eruption, a distress signal is sent via satellite instantly, pinpointing the location for rescuers. The Bermuda Triangle is now one of the safest and busiest maritime and air routes on the planet. The truth isn't as sensational as the fiction, but it is, in its own way, more profound. The story of the Bermuda Triangle is really the story of our past vulnerability to the raw power of nature, and it's a story of how human ingenuity, science, and technology have transformed a place of inexplicable terror into just another common cruising route. So, which of these real, natural explanations did you find the most terrifying? The compass-spinning magnetism, the ship-swallowing gas explosions, or the 100-foot rogue waves? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more mysteries unveiled. Thanks for watching.